Imagine this. There are video games out there that haven't yet been released. What a plight. A cool looking game isn't out yet, and maybe you don't even know when it's gonna happen. If only there were a way to get a taste of what's to come. Not you. Game demos are a good way for devs to give a little showcase of what their game is all about. They're short, sweet, and leave you wanting more. Today I'll talk about some cool demos for upcoming games that you can go play right now. I mean, at least the ones that are on Steam. They might be on other platforms, but I don't know. Quick side note, the key here is that these are all for unreleased games, at least as of the recording of this video. These are all demos that have me keeping an eye on when their full release happens and are pretty fun. Let's check them out. BRYCE BUCHER. Oh wait, I've already talked about 500 Caliber Contractz in my Crusty Games video. Go watch that if you haven't. To keep it brief, it's a platforming game where you use a big sniper rifle for movement and it has a cool style. Yep, and that's about it. On to the next. What do you know about WarioWare? Do you know what a microgame is? Alright, the gist is that imagine a mini game of sorts, but make it only a few seconds long, and that's a microgame. WarioWare has you playing a bunch of these microgames in succession, increasingly ramping up in speed and difficulty. So now imagine WarioWare, but the devs spent 23 hours a day on the internet, and that's Buster Jam. Buster Jam, called a playable cartoon by the devs, is a game where you get to complete all sorts of wacky microgames. The demo gives you access to an early part of the story, and an endless mode, which is pretty cool. In the story mode, a wizard named The Wizard has committed a Deltarune reference. Buster and Bridget, a couple that run a demolition company specializing in bombs, take it upon themselves to stop the wizard. So off you go through the city to take down the enemy. The gameplay here is pretty simple. If you can figure out color puzzles, then you'll do just fine. But the real treat here is the NPCs you can talk to. I like this kid asking if you've seen his mom, to which he pulls out a vape and it turns out he's 32. Classic, man, that's classic. After some walking, you come across a statue of the wizard blocking your path, and this is where the microgames come in, as a task like this has you completing a number of them to get through the problem, ramping up in speed as time goes on. The microgames are really simple. You only have to worry about using your arrow keys and the occasional interact button. That said, most of them are pretty funny and clearly have some inspiration from other pieces of media. The rattle and stabbing one feel like they came right out of Smiling Friends, and there's a doodle jump parody where you are Bart Simpson in a shoe. Otherwise, just looking at them gives you the gist of things. They're pretty cool in the moment and are really entertaining when they get fast. So after clearing the statue and walking some more, you get to the subway station. While taking the train, Bridget passes the time by scrolling Instagram reels. Suddenly, you're attacked by some of the wizard's goons, the Black Knives, who seem a little dysfunctional. After some microgames, you get a little boss fight, and that's the demo. Besides the story, you can also do an endless mode that infinitely ramps up in speed. Here, the game will also add little effects to make you run harder, like shaking the camera or moving it around. Here's my record if you want to try and beat it. I'm looking forward to the full release of this game, and it looks like it's going to be a slam dunk given the cool art, hilarious writing, and fun microgames. Back in the far-off year of 2021, when E3 was still a thing, there was this interesting-looking trailer that had a pixelated art style with cool lighting and an interesting setting. I didn't think much of it until the camera started getting all slick with it here. Neat. Replaced is a 2.5D action platformer where you're this Leon Kennedy-looking guy. It blends 2D sprites in a 3D environment and ties it all together with some cool camera and lighting work. The demo is really simple, just doing some basic platforming and puzzles, but the combat is pretty satisfying to pull off. You've got access to your typical dodge roll, light attack, and parry, but when you land enough attacks you're able to use your gun, which acts as an insta-kill finisher and does a really cool animation. Combat has this flow to it that takes some getting used to, as your attacks have this heft to them that takes time to follow through with. The demo's maybe 15 or 20 minutes long, and there really isn't much else to talk about here. I do like that the pause menu has you go into this little Game Boy thing you have, and navigating it has this neat sliding animation. Besides that, I hope the gameplay is fleshed out a bit more once it releases. The simplicity of this opening section is understandable, but I'm hoping for some more interesting enemy interactions and more unique puzzles. That said, it's a cool proof of concept at the very least. Replaced comes out in a few weeks as of this video, so if you're looking to give it a shot, now's the best time to check it out. What if they made a racing game? A racing game that's fast. And then, instead of having cars in it, they just strapped rocket boosters to people's legs. Boost Vector EX is a solo project, and is actually derived from a Roblox game called Boost Vector. The key here is wicked fast racing and different ways to utilize your speed depending on your character. Instead of Roblox avatars, you play as an anime girl. Here, the demo lets you play through the first part of the story, as well as a single-player Grand Prix and an online mode. I couldn't get the online mode going though, so apologies about that. The story is this visual novel style, which isn't really my cup of tea. The idea here is that the sport of boost vector is taking off and competitors are joining the races en masse. Besides that, the demo lets you play a single Grand Prix to try things out. There are 2 different characters to choose from who have different properties. One has a double jump and the other has a mid-air float. One has a typical hold to boost ability and the other has the speed burst ability. You gain more of your boost meter as you collect these gems and pull off drifts. I cannot lie to you, I totally sucked at this game starting out. It reminded me of Titanfall and how slow I was starting out learning the game, but once you learn how to move, boy can you move. I really couldn't get it down after a few races, so I don't know, here's some madness of someone else doing it. Wowee. I can kinda compare it to how F-Zero or the fast racing games do it. You're moving up blistering speeds and there are things on the track that help you go faster or charge your boost meter. The trick is finding out the right time to use your boost meter to drift and managing to keep control of your character without going off the map, which happened pretty often for me. I originally was going to talk about how the race courses feel like they're designed against you, but after watching someone who actually knows what they're doing, I think I'll just say it's a skill issue for now. Besides that, the game is a pretty cool style. I like how all of the menus are arrow based and everything feels really good considering this was only made by one guy. If you're looking for a cool time waster or want to try some crazy movement out, I'll give this a recommendation. So those are some cool game demos, nothing super crazy. Just short and sweet showcases of a game so you can get the gist. Let me know if there's any other neat demos I should check out. Can't really ramble too long about game demos. That's about it. Peace. Just short and sweet showcases. Talk about a tongue twister. Just short and sweet showcases. Oh, Jesus Christ. Just short and sweet showcases of a game that you can get the gist of.